All right. There we are. When will the stream start? Right now. Sorry, I just had to hop out of the shower. It took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to. Let me close this door. Well, welcome. Welcome. Oh. All right. Let's get a move on. So, what did we do last time? Last time we started continuing setting up our placeable kind of areas. Basically, right now, how it's working is we don't actually have a placeable section set up, but we can see here we have a selected placeable object, placeable zones, and selected placeable zone. So right now, another dining area, but dining area, if we hover over it with our cursor, like so, we can place, we gotta press B to enter building mode. Can place an object like so on the grid. And this is working pretty good right here. This area is a little finicky. If I place it over here, it won't place right here, but that's because this grid over here is not being made. But if we go over here, place it like so. And this won't actually be too much of a problem right now, because we're not going to have as many placeable things as we like. Let's see, though. Go over here. You can kind of see where these zones intersect, like so. Doesn't cause too much of a problem. But yeah, so we have that. We're able to place some objects. We should probably place that in this container right here. So we have a few things we can do. Let me go ahead. Did I make the player model myself? No, I'm using free and paid assets. The environment right here, this is a asset pack from like Polycube or whatnot. It's like 20 bucks. These walls, this is from a diner kit. There's a few things. The player model, that was free. I found that on, I think, polyart.io or something like that. He's just a basic human. He's a placeholder. He will not be in the full-fledged game, but we are going to be using him for a good bit of time. So yeah. So let me pull up this bad boy, the design doc over here, and okay, concept, and pull up the roadmap. Okay, so placeable objects, grid with sections, kitchen, beyond counter, dining area, storage / bathroom area, certain objects, it will be placed in certain sections, tables in dining room, counters in specific places, and machines behind the counter. So, what we can do, ahead. What is your Unity experience? Do you normally build games, and are you learning it by doing this game? So my Unity experience, I am a recent computer engineering graduate. I took a computer game development course. So I've developed 2 deadlined games. With that, I have been using Unity on and off ever since. Developed small little projects, learned a good bit. This is going to be my first actual commercial game that I'm developing from the ground up. I've had a few renditions, but this is the rendition I'm setting on as a 3D. Well, it's going to be a 3D, but manipulated into 2D art using an orthographic camera, and we're going to even eventually build our own shader for converting, for basically aliasing the camera. That will make everything look like pixel art. So it's kind of, everything's going to be a 3D object, not needing pixel art, like actual textures. And then we're going to use the actual game engine to pixelate everything. So yeah, I have a little bit of experience. I am in no ways means a professional Unity developer. I am also taking the time to learn on stream. If you go back like 2 streams, I think I was struggling with remembering how to instantiate an array. That's some nice, good road blocking there. But we're progressing slowly but surely. Every weekday on stream and sometimes on the weekends as well, from 11:30 to 2:30 Eastern time. And the unusual start time is because usually we start at 11:30 when I press the starting stream soon. Yeah, absolutely. No, I think it's the best way to do it. I think anybody that streams like software development is constantly learning on stream as well, no matter what they say. But the whole idea for this stream is that we collaborate together. If we're stucking on, like if I'm stuck on a roadblock, we can collaborate together, maybe help you learn something as well, kind of learn together on stream. Maybe today we might take a step back from game dev and even go in depth on a different technology, but right now going back into game dev because this is a priority for the streams. So if we get back into it, we got some placeable objects. So for a placeable object, actually it might be easier to go in here into our script. So let's load up Visual Studio and think this out. For placeable objects, we're gonna need a currency. Oh, how's it going, Mr. Go-Go? Welcome. Working on a Unity game as a kind of junior developer here. So feel free to stick around and learn a little bit with me. Yeah, absolutely. Love to have you around. I'll be talking through basically literally everything I can. And hopefully if you see something you want to jump in there, I'll definitely take the time to read it. What's the game idea? It's at high level, I'm not going to go too in detail. I can even show you some of the systems I have set up. We got wave numbers, health bars, like so. We got a player. It's 3D isometric that's going to be manipulated into 2D. Got some zombies with waves. So right now, actually, it's a daytime, so we can even see the sun starting. You can't actually see the sun, but you can see the light kind of moving. This is actually going to happen for too long to show you 5 minutes because I had it set to that. Basically, wave game, zombies. There's a night cycle. Every 5 waves. Oh. Thanks for the... I haven't done anything with the lighting, actually. This is Unity's default global light emission for 3D projects, and we are literally just using a little day-night controller in our game controller object to rotate that around. That was actually a headache and a half to figure out. I can thank some usual guys that hop on the stream for helping out with that. But yeah, so it's right now it's very basic. We'll have you can see this wave controller. We have enemies, 1 enemy right now, just a basic zombie, which is this character model, but green. Some spawn points, day-night controllers, max enemies spawned, a spawn delay, spawned enemies, and active spawn points, and then wave number here. So we have a whole wave controller set up. That's the event systems used for, of course, the UI. We got the UI here. And yeah. Did you make the models? No, I did not. The man is a free asset. Everything else you see is a paid bought asset. I basically, at the start of the project, because I've had a few renditions where I even tried to do this in 2D, where I made all the art by myself. It takes way too long. If you are looking to get into Game Dev, I highly recommend to start buying some free assets that go along with your game, finding some free assets as well. This man right here was a free. The only thing I will say that I made myself is his weapon, which is a spatula like that. I made that in Blender. So, I mean, I'll definitely be making some other stuff for future, but right now I want to get these systems put in place, make it kind of fun, make it like, you know, something I could be a little bit proud of, and then start working on the art. Oh yeah, slap them good. And it does fit the theme of the game. Trust me, right now, it doesn't look very wacky, but this game is supposed to be kind of a wacky take on things. But that's probably going to take a year's time before we really dive in there. Is the weapon anchored to the hand, or is it added to the model? So, basically, we're jerry-rigging it. I think that's the correct way. I just imported the object, and if we go all the way down here to our shoulder, right arm, lower arm, palm, and we go to our fingers, right here, we have a weapon slot object, and below that is all of our weapons. So none is also a weapon with damage of 1. That's basically our fist. Then we're going to add every single weapon and disable them like that. And then we have a weapon slot controller that I believe is attached somewhere. Or we might be controlling it in player controller, or no, weapon slot controller right here. It's tied to our scroll wheel using Unity's input system, which will enable that if we have access to it. For instance, these weapons, we could have maybe 3 equipped at one time that's tied to objects in here. Basically, which ones are equipped and we have access to, and then it will just enable it one by one and disable the next one, basically scrolling in order. These are some very basic systems. My take on actually developing a game is get the basic system set up, something you can see, make sure you're enjoying doing it, like seeing progress, and then you go back and optimize. How long has the project been going? So this project, I've been streaming it for about a week and a half now. But like, for instance, I've set up a few things before streaming it. This project has had several renditions, including a 2D form, and then it's trying to switch to Godot. But finally, I came back to Unity, which I'm comfortable with, and it's been about a week and a half getting a bunch of systems set up. This week, we have been focusing on a placeable controller. As you can see here, placing objects, because we want to be able to place barricades and such. Yeah, it's actually, once you really kind of boil it down, you tackle really one system per day. And if, of course, if it's a bigger system, then you tackle it even more. So over the course of a week, like I'm doing this placeable controllers, you can kind of see that. But luckily, Unity in 3D has a bunch of helpful stuff. For instance, if we go to our zombies right here, the nav mesh component, nav mesh agent, setting up a nav mesh makes it very helpful. I just basically have this set, this waffle machine set as a goal. That's their destination unless the player enters a certain radius, and then they path towards that using Unity's nav mesh. Player controller took probably one of the longest. Actually, one of the longest things was also appreciate the follow. Welcome to the lab and lounge. Rotating the sun took a good stream. Setting up that day-night system, the wave controller took a stream. And these are all, like I said, very basic, non-flushed out systems. For instance, the wave controller right now, if I had multiple enemies, is cycling through random enemies and not creating any variable health or any variable like additions of the same object, to where in the future, as the wave increases, maybe we would increase health of some zombies or spawn certain different types of zombies, unlocking like maybe ranged, speedy zombies and such. The player is gonna, of course, have more weapons, inventory system and all that, but none of that is implemented. So focus small and just one by one build up per day. How did I learn the code? I went to university, went to college. I have a degree, Bachelor's of Science in Computer Engineering. So I learned there, but if you don't want to go down that route, you don't have to. What I will say for that is just pick out some courses on the internet, go through them, start with Java, C#, or Python. Python will be the easiest, but will be harder to go down into it. Java's object-oriented. C#'s what I'm using here in Unity, like so. This is C#. And don't focus too much on learning the syntax. Focus on learning how everything works. Like, for instance, when I see float, I don't see a decimal point number. I see basically a floating point number is how it works is in binary. It basically, according to a position. So if this 5 was, let's see. So if we go, I think 5 would be, let's see, 1, 2, 4. Yeah, so that's 5. Yeah, I used Unity. I made a game in like 1 week. Yeah, absolutely. This game's a little bigger in scope, but I would highly recommend just making smaller games to start out, like what I did. You don't even have to like make them fully fledged games. You can just start learning systems. That's what I did. I made like a little 2D tower defense things where we have zombies coming in and then turrets defending a base, and then a little roguelite, and even messing around with things. But back for basic floating point. So floating point number is, so this is 5 in binary right here. But if we want to think, if we had a 0.1 like so, then we could think of it by having a 0.1. So this would be the 10th place, and this would be the 5. But if we keep adding numbers and this was a static size, we would have to, we could maybe do it like that, and to where we even move it up like that. And that's, of course, a... Yeah, don't learn the language, learn how to code, basically. Yeah, exactly. Learn to code, not how to write a language. It's definitely easier to start off by using one language, but while you're learning that language, try to understand the concepts and not how it works in one language. For instance, if we wanted to do the same thing in Python, we could do movement speed is equal to 5.0, and that would still instantiate a float. That's Python. You don't even have to put a semicolon there. But knowing that right here in this language is the same as this, it doesn't really matter if you know it. You should understand what everything's doing. But let's get back to it. Let's actually start working on the game. And if you guys have any other questions, of course. Also, Mr. Gogo, I didn't realize you followed. Appreciate the follow as well. And yeah. Let's see. So, what I was getting back to is placeable objects. Would you pair program on screen at any point? What do you mean pair program? As in like collaborate or like something like that? I don't think I've heard that term before. But yeah, let's see. So placeable objects, work with another dev. Yeah, collaborate. Yeah, I absolutely would. Probably not on this Unity game. Right now it's only me. In the future, maybe look for more devs for it if it kind of, you know, expands in scope or needs more time or more devs to crunch time. But part of these streams, I've of course been focusing on game dev recently because it's something you can see tangible. I do plan on starting learning different projects. I do have a Discord, yes. If you go to the Twitch, there's a icon. Over on YouTube too, there's a link. I'll show that off real quick. We have the lab and lounge right here where you can see where I'm posting and such, YouTube videos, and like so. when you join, you'll see this welcome message. We have some rules, very basic rules. Some introductions on what the lab and lounge are, links to the YouTube and Twitch. Discord invite if you want to invite any friends. And then once you join, appreciate you joining, you go to join channels here and you can select what roles you want. So as you can see, you probably can't see this on your side, we have the lab and the lounge. The lab's game dev, research, looking into technology. The lounge is hanging, gaming, doing some things. If you want both, just become one of the lads. And if not, then you can become one of just one or other. So yeah. Now let's see. I did just see you pop up in there. That might be broken. Hopefully not. Let me know if the lab or the lounge pops up, because for instance, you're supposed to be able to get the lad if you had the rock star. And so me 6 might be bugging, of course. Who knows? Actually, let me edit the permissions. Allow members to change this channel's permissions. Let me See, this is the thing. I have not really worked with Discord too well. Actually creating a... Okay. You can't see the channels? Okay, so try unclicking that like so. Because that should be, what's it called? Assigning roles. So if I go like here, that didn't assign me a role. All right, that's broken. I'll go ahead and fix that real quick. That should not, let's see, reaction roles. Okay. Let's see. Right here. Oops, I can't give. Okay. By putting my role above all the roles listed here. Okay. I see the problem. I completely broke the Discord. Let me go fix that. Me6, you need to be put at the very top, don't you? Save changes. Okay. Now that should be fixed. Yeah, so unselect your roles. And now Me6-ish should be able to join the role. Let me see. So if I do that. Yeah, all right, that's working now. No, you're fine. I'm completely fine with stream tangents. Like I said, I'm going slowly but surely on this game. So yeah, we got a few members in Discord. Yep, there you go. Now you're a lad. You should be able to see both the lab and the lounge. Right now, small community, but hopefully expanding here shortly. So yeah, let's actually get into some things where you can actually see me coding and stuff. Okay. So what we were working on is placeable systems. So right now, how the way it's gonna work, we might need a shop system. Okay, so we got grids with sections. We can denote this. How we're gonna denote this, I'm gonna actually fix this real quick, is in our game controller, placeable zones. We're going to tag this, add a tag, call this a dining area, like so. Give it that tag. And in a layer, we'll have a placeable zones. So basically what I'm doing is tagging things. These are useful working with Unity. So now if we go to placeable controller, or what was I? Oh, it's cursor. It's the cursor. On trigger enter if tag equals mask. We're gonna call this placeable zones. Placeable zones equals layer.getMask, and we're gonna call this placeable zones like so. So now we have a layer mask. So if oh, I remember having problems with this. I'm just gonna do this dining area like so. We'll work with the layer mask eventually. But yeah. Let's see. Okay. So we have the dining area set up with layer mask. Next up, we have a few different ways we can attack this. Eventually, everything's going to come back to the middle. We got to play it. Placeable controller. Line place build. We need to flesh out building system. We have zones that have local grids of placeable tiles that denote their location on a 2D grid, as well as if they are obstructed. We also have a non-stop placeable object, which in hindsight will have a width and a height representing how many X and Y tiles it will take up. When the player enters building mode, they will need to select a placeable object to place / move / get rid of. For basics, let's just make an object that we can place by clicking in building mode. And that is done. How much games have I made? I haven't actually made any commercial games, but for instance, I've made some project games. I've made a little roguelike that has skeletons that spawn. You can dash around. Health, that's actually where the health, the heart icons come from. I've made a infinite scroller game with a team in college. I have, let's see, I have made a little 2D platformer that has a grappling function, and I've made a little small tower defense thing. So I haven't actually made any full-fledged games. Have I joined a game jam? I have not joined a game jam yet. I don't know. I haven't really been interested in game jams because it kind of gives you that deadline, and usually on the weekends I'm off doing stuff. My girlfriend, she lives in a different city, so I'll go drive down there sometimes. Next 2 weekends I actually am not going to be here, but then after that I'll be here for 2 weekends, so maybe a game jam stream might be fun. But also got some buddies that we play games with in the lounge section. And yeah, so maybe that might be something future, and that actually something fun we maybe could do on stream one day. Full-fledged game jam, and even build a team or something with community members. But yeah, so now that we have this done, we should probably scrap some of these. So here we go. I'm gonna want to remove this. Right. Placeable controller. You need to be none. Pistol. Toon shooter game kit. Oh, look at that. I do have some guns in here. Oh, that's cool. I wonder if I actually have some of the stuff I need. I forgot. Yeah, crates. I forgot about all this stuff. Wow, cardboard boxes. We're gonna go to none right now. Yeah, absolutely. But I will say that would probably be a little bit in the future, so that's something we could look forward to. We could pinpoint a game dev, or not a game dev, a whatever it's called. We could pinpoint like a game jam we'd want and set it up in announcements. And maybe, because we also have some other guys who join sometimes later in the stream, get set up with them, and we could even have 2 competing teams. We could have some other things, some community members. The whole really purpose of me streaming is to really build a community of people who want to learn gaming, who want to learn, who want to play games, have game nights, but also learn coding, work on games, but also learn some technologies. For instance, we might dive into Docker and Kubernetes one of these streams, because that's personally something I need to learn for potential jobs in the future. And it's very useful technology to know if you do want to be a full-time software engineer. It'll help you. So we got some game recommendations. Oh, okay. Yeah, I also have the Discord pulled up. I'll definitely go answer those questions. But games specifically, we've been playing a lot of Sea of Thieves. I play PC. I will say, if you are... Oh yeah, absolutely. No, it's always important to me that everybody's trying. Like, we try to build a community of like-minded people. Not like-minded people. That's kind of a weird term to say, but of people that need help with aspirations and people that can support each other and their creative journeys. But yeah, let's jump back in here. So right now in our placeable controller, we have a basic just place object function. So if the selected zone equals no, does not equal null, and selected placeable object does not equal null, and placeable zone dot selected tile does not equal null, and selected placeable zone dot selected tile dot is not obstructed, then we will instantiate our object. There. So what we're gonna need is a placeable object. So first of all, actually, I want to dive in here, and what do I want to do in the code? So for instance, I am right now working on a building system. Not just community, but a community of learning together and just building fun projects, especially for junior devs. The market is not friendly to junior developers. No, completely agree. I'm right there with you. And that's where trying to build something like that, and who knows, maybe something in the community, we can build something really cool, get it out there, have our names on it as like maybe open source, and that can help. I think anything you can do to help out will help out. But for instance, to answer your code, what do I want to do in this code is if we go into game like this, we have a building mode. If I go into B and, oh, for instance, I don't have a placeable object right here. Let's put that. I do that. I can place these little cubes like so. These are actually obstructable things, so the zombies will avoid it. So I could like even place this around here to interrupt their path finding. Like so. And yeah, there we go. Keep building like so. They'll have to find a way around this. Kind of like, just like a barricade in a way. So now they might even path, because it might be obstructed, so they might have to path all the way over here to go through this door now. And such. Oh, that's not good. I gotta plug in the wireless headset. Let's get that nice and plugged in. There we go. But yeah, so right now this code is literally whenever I click the button and the cursor is selected at the right tile, this is what's placing the object. That was what that code was doing. But now, of course, we don't want the players to just be able to place cubes everywhere. In fact, these cubes are actually just placeholder objects. Kind of denotes how the grid looks, you know? Now, what we're basically going to do is stop the game. Let's go look in our assets folder. We got diner, low poly, characters, materials, message, prefabs. Let's see if they should have a table. I think there should be a table in here. We have a counter. Table. There we go. Like so. And now what we're going to do is in placeable objects, scroll down here, put it like so. Where are you? You go to 0, 0, 0. There that thing is. And look at that. We have a table. Like so. Now I want to see how big this table is in retrospect to size. You'll see what I mean very shortly. So if we go over here, we'll have that table floating, like so. And let me go in build mode. Oh, yep. Again, gotta go in here and put our placeable object in so, because that doesn't save. So now, if I click, okay, so we can see here that one of these tables is kind of, if we go down, it's kind of equal to 4 of these things, in a way. So when we place it, it's going to be like so. But yeah, you can see it kind of overflows a little bit. Maybe that's something we want. Let's see how that would look if we shift it over like so. Okay, the overlap's not actually that bad. Okay. So that size, right now, I'll give it 1 by 1. You've been programming for almost 10 years and started streaming to build a similar community to give back. I'm definitely going to point people over to your stream from here on. I appreciate it. And I'll definitely go ahead and check out your channel after this stream is done. Give you a little follow. Join that Discord community. But I will be streaming here every day until from this time, 11:30 Eastern to 2:30 Eastern, every day, doing game dev predominantly, but we could do tomorrow looking into Go or Kubernetes, Docker, or looking into some upstream open source projects, because that's very important to really start fleshing out yourself as a developer. We could do one streams like that, do half and half. Sometimes these streams will also overflow past 2:30. But yeah, no, looking forward to it. Let's go ahead and see how to do this. All right, so we have a table. The game is still playing. Here, you can even maybe see somehow the zombies work while I mess around in here. So we got low poly, some prefabs here, chairs like so. We got countertops like so. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm not going to tell you that I am amazing at game dev either. But I'm just going to keep trucking along and eventually it'll work out. At least that's what I believe. Okay, so we got chairs, we got tables, we got 2 different types of tables. For instance, this table right here would take up 2 spaces. This table right here would take up probably 1 space. Thank God that I bought this asset pack, because I would have been looking for some assets. So, you're going to make random props, or are you going to make it player made? There's going to be random props for sure. But I want to say about the random props, they are going to be placeable objects, as in you're going to be able to pick them up and move them around however you want. But the idea with the game is that you have to make money as well. And I don't want to get too in detail because I don't want to expose too much, because I also like it being surprises for people watching. But these things are going to be damageable. Like, if they're a barricade or they're a barricade object, then let's say we're going to have it flipped around like so. And that can only face one direction. Yeah. And if you break the table, then you're going to have to probably replenish the table, or it's not going to be very good for the game, because as the waves go up, it's going to get harder, and you're going to want to get better things. And if you're not making enough money because some things are broken, then it's going to get a lot tougher. So then you're going to get stuck in a hole, and you might have to restart the run, because it's going to be one of those games where it has repeatability, like kind of like a roguelike, as in it's fun to keep doing runs. Call of Duty Zombies is a big inspiration. Let's put that back to 0. But yeah, okay, so now that we are done, so we'll see that goes back, we are going to focus on, in these placeable objects, creating some placeable objects, of course. Okay. Like so. Let's see. let's see here. What is the best way to do this? Okay, so we're gonna call this not SM table 1. We'll call it SM table 1. So we got a mesh collider, convex, like so. So that will enable the collider. We're going to also add a nav mesh obstacle here, like so. And as you can see, it will create, once the game is in there, it will actually break the nav mesh up so that the navigational system will have to path around it, create some new edges. Okay. And what I'm even thinking is that while a table's like this, it's not going to be an obstacle. Zombies will be able to crawl underneath it. But if we rotated it, if we have it on like barricade mode, we rotate it 90 degrees, goes up like so. Now it's a barricade mode for this, and this is the only collider enabled, so they'll have to go around that or through it. But this is some forethought. Let's just focus on this. We're going to add a placeable object script to it. So now we can start defining placeable objects. We need an X and Y size to note the placeable nodes will be obstructed. So we'll do a public integer X size, comma, Y size, and that by default is going to be 1, like so. So if we save that, we will see this pop up in the inspector because we set that to a public field. So I'm very curious about when we set 2 things like that. Is it going to pop up like 2? Yeah, X size and Y size. Why public instead of serialized field and private? That's a good question. Private serialized field is going to be more beneficial in the long run, but for now, I just wanted to see if this pops up like so. So X size and Y size equals 1, 1. Okay, so we actually have to do commas like that. Or, oh, no. We had to set it equal to 1 right here. Interesting. But, for instance, this is going to need to be accessed by other things. So, actually, the best way we're going to have to do this is, if we really want to be sustainable, allow it for being modifiable in the inspector. But what we're going to do is make a getter function. So, we'll do public int X size, and then we'll get return X size like so, and of course include that. We don't want this to be actually public set anywhere else, and we'll do a public int Y size, which gets and appreciate Swift. I actually have not used Swift. But yeah, I like using getter and setters as well. Serialized field makes it private variable visible in Unity. Yeah, so we should be able, once we save this, still be able to modify them though as well. Because we're gonna want to we're gonna have to do this basically visually for every single placeable object. I don't foresee having too many to where that's unbearable. For instance, we'll be able to set this right in here. Because we're going to need to do that because X size, Y size, 1, 1 is going to be fine. But, for instance, when, if we go into art prefab, we'll be able to rotate things as well, and that's going to have to dynamically change things. It's like, for instance, if we go into Diner, low poly again, and go into prefabs and grab our where is it? Our SM table 2. Set that 0, 0 as well. This is going, you can see how it's a little bit longer than this table. So we're going to actually need this to have like a size of 2. So it takes up 2 spaces on the grid. But if we rotate the X position, not that, the Y position maybe, then that's going to increase the Y versus the X. So we'll have to have that changeable as well. But that will be basically handled in our placeable object script as well. So yeah, we got our sizes, X and Y. The speed optimized is isn't as speed optimized as Python is typically considered, only used for Apple app development, but it's nicely statically typed language with nice built-in memory management and nuances of functional programming as needed. Okay, cool. Yeah, I have heard that Swift, that's usually used for Apple, and it's crazy say as speed optimized as Python, because I have always assumed Python is pretty slow. But definitely love built-in memory management and having some nice syntax stuff and ease of use. I always appreciate that, such as using GDScript in Godot. It's Python derivative, so it's basically just Python with some extra steps. It was very fun to use, but I kind of like getting into detail, knowing exactly what's going on. Eventually, we'll dive into C and C++ and really dive into the memory management and how stuff works. Oh, yeah. I actually, for my job, I had to work with Unreal a little bit and had to start messing around with the Unreal blueprints, and it's interesting. It was fun because you kind of can visually see how it's working, but I did not really enjoy it as much as this. But yeah, let's go back to here. Placeable objects. So we have our int size. So when we are placing an object, we're instantiating it at the tile position, the current tile position selected. So actually, what we're going to need to do is if selected placeable object dot x size, or no, that's because that's the game object, isn't it? So we'll need to actually get references to the selected placeable object, or no, we want a variable. Personally, I feel code is easier to debug than blueprints. The blueprints have the execution flow. It does help visualize some things. No, absolutely, code is definitely a little bit easier to debug than blueprints, except when it's like one small little syntax area where you're setting something to false or true. It's just something you can easily glance at and overlook. But like hefty bugs that really affect a bunch of things, definitely code's a lot easier, in my opinion. So if we go to variable, we'll get our placeable object is equal to selected placeable object dot get, not placeable zone. Negation of multiple conditionals where you mix up and it is or another easily missed bug. Yeah, in fact, what I'm doing right now might have some fun bugs recently, but I can't foresee any better way of doing it right now. So we're just going to keep on trucking along. So if placeable object dot x size is greater than 1, or placeable object dot y size is greater than 1, then what the hell is going on here? Why is it? I don't know what's up with Visual Studio sometimes. We're gonna go do that again because I don't like the way that looked. Or placeable object y size is greater than 1. So there we go. Then we need to, basically this is going to be the else. So it's an if else, place these bad boys there. But yeah, So if the size is greater than 1, then we need to check basically how the size that's going to be instantiated on. So check to make sure that all tiles needed are not obstructed. And if not, make sure to obstruct the other used tiles, like so. So let's see about this. So we know this is placeable object is 1-1 basic. So on our SM table 2 right here, let me also go ahead in this nav mesh and placeable object, and this is going to be, let's see, we'll have to see in a little bit, but nav mesh obstacle as well, like so, and this is convex as well. We don't need a mesh collider for all these things. We could just literally use a box collider. And that's what I think I'm gonna do, because we're gonna remove these colliders. And we're gonna just add box colliders, because we don't need this fancy convex for things that are literally... Nope. Where's the bottom? There we go. We just need the top of this, because you're still not gonna be able to walk forward. Box collider, not 2D. Didn't say you wanted Zolly to crawl underneath. Wouldn't you need a mesh for that? Yeah, so eventually we'll want that eventually, of course, but for now we're still just trying to build in the basic systems. Having zombies crawl under like basic tables. Basically what we're gonna do for that is just have a disable of the nav mesh obstacle like that, and then we'll probably enable a nav mesh link like so. And from here you can actually link stuff in the nav mesh, like having a jumping animation or a crawling animation happen. But that is for another day. Let's go ahead and edit this to make sure it's only the tippy top of that, because eventually that will also be how we'll maybe turn off the colliders and allow them to go underneath using that link. But we keep the nav mesh obstacle there. Yeah, absolutely. That will be very far in the future, I will say, because that's some complex AI when we start reworking and overhauling the actual zombie AI into a better format. But what the hell? Oh, I opened up nav mesh link on accident. But that is definitely a stream that will be cool, because we'll be live learning on that. In fact, for nav mesh, what I did for learning about the nav mesh and why I know that's a thing is because I literally went to their documentation. And if we went down here, we read through all of this, and we even went through the nav mesh link component like so. And it gives you some nice documentation. And also, you can go to the scripting API right here, and it will tell you a lot of things. So we can even programmatically add stuff like so. So we could, when the table is upright, we could add the link, and when the table is actually not, then we remove that link. So there's a lot of cool stuff we can do with that. Yeah, we can even, is link active, we can disable and enable, and there's a lot of cool stuff once we start really diving into documentation. That's already implemented. It uses A-star pathfinding. I don't know if you've dabbled with that, but that's can be fun to set up yourself, but then you have to start actually worrying about performance, because one time in the I think it was the 2D tower defense game that I was working on, I spawned like 20 enemies that each were creating their own path, like game object, and searching it out, and the performance came to a halt. It was a 2D pixel art game, and the performance came to a halt. So I had to find a workaround like that. Probably wasn't the best workaround, but it worked. So yeah, well, let's get back to this. So what we're gonna do is movable obstructions, and let's put a tag as a table, because we just want to have it like that. So tag, table, tag, table, movable obstructions, like so. So what I will say is what we're gonna do is leave this bad boy right here, and we're going to leave this bad boy right so. And see, actually what we're gonna do is in our placeable controller, I'm gonna go ahead and drag our one table as this. So now let's see how placing a table looks, because this is not the same as a cube, so I'm very curious to see how this will work. Building mode, table, 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 table. Yeah, so actually having this as a one tile is fine. I like that, because you can connect tables like that, and that should be fine. Now I want to see what this looks like. All right, here we go. Go back to build mode. Yeah, so that's where we see this can actually kind of work for creating bigger tables. But for instance, whoa, I just reverted that. Kind of see how this works. So if we place that object at the center like so, it kind of takes up two squares, to where if we go back to table 1, kind of see like that. And since the pivot point is weirdly set up, well, not weirdly, actually correctly, I should say, set up right here, what we could do is go into this prefab, go into the table. Here, let's see. SM table, mesh renderer, prefabs, no, and our art, diner, low poly. We have our meshes right here, like so. So we can always add that to, there's SM table too. Let's see, what does prefabs have though? That's just already set up with a collider, it looks like. But you can see here, if we go to SM table 2, you can see the pivot point right here is in the middle. We might actually want to shift that to the middle of this, so that the middle, Interesting. Interesting indeed. So what we're gonna look up is Unity setting up custom pivot points on game objects. Directly manipulate the pivot point in the scene view by selecting vertex snapping mode and activate by holding the V key, allowing you to snap the pivot to a specific vertex on your mesh, essentially creating a custom rotation center at that point. Alternatively, you can create a separate empty game object, position it where you want the pivot to be, and then parent your game object. Okay, so there is actually a few ways of handling that, to where I think I'm going to go with the actual other way of handling it, and we're going to do a long table, put this below like so, and put this at 0, 0, 0, and this goes to 0, 0, 0, which is right 0, like so. We're gonna go on over like that, just move that around, and we're gonna move that pivot like so. So now fuck? Why does it look like that? So 0, 0. Okay. Yeah. So that actually works. Let's go 1. 1's like that. Go 0. 1, 0, 1. And we'll just put this guy to 1. Like that. And then that means... So now if we select this point, we need to go 1 that way on our grid. So for that, we got a get placeable tile world position. So if tile is X size is greater than equal to 1, then we're gonna get the X. We'll do a integer X offset is equal to placeable object dot X size minus 1, and Y offset is equal to placeable object dot Y size minus 1. All right, so now we have our offsets. So if X is 1, size is 1, then we'll have us set the 0, 0. And basically what we're gonna do is, so we have a selected tile of our map, which has coordinates, X and Y, which represent where it is on our tile grid. So basically, all we're gonna do is, in here, we're gonna do in here. No. Placeable controller. Yeah, right here. So then we're going to if placeable zones dot check obstructions. So this is going to be a new function, like so, that returns a boolean, public bool check obstructions, and we want to input our int X offset, comma, int Y offset, like so. And we're going to return a true, just defaultly. Okay. And then we want to put in our X offset, Y offset. Does not contain definition for check obstructions. Yep, it does. Placeable zones, not placeable. Selected placeable zone. Like so. Alright, there we go. So now, if that is so, then we're going to do that. Instantiate that, and then we're going to also need to pass in the selected tile. Oh no, actually it has access to the selected tile already. So let's think. So we're instantiating it on that if the obstructions are not set. So we need to then set obstructions, and this is going to be a kind of a duplicate function in a way. To where this is going to be void, and then we're going to do set obstructions, and that doesn't need a return value. Yeah, check and set obstructions. So, so we have an offset. This is the amount. So well, basically, this is going to be a linear time for int X equals selected tile dot X. So that is the current location. What's from? Oh, we gotta cast this to int. Always fun. So for int, let's see. X is less than selected tile selected tile.x plus x offset, x++. So basically, going up from the offset, we're just checking to make sure if selected, or not selected tile, if tiles at x comma selected tile dot y dot is obstructed, then we return false. And this needs to be an it as well. So basically what we're doing here is for the offset, which is basically just how much in direction it's supposed to be going. We are just checking to see if the tile at the next X in the same row is obstructed, and if it's not, then that means that we can't place that object there, so we're not going to place the object there. And we need to do the same thing for Y. Selected tile.x, and this is going to be y. All right, and if we don't find that, so that's linear, not too shabby. If we don't find any obstructions, then we'll return true and allowing for placement in here. Okay, and now we're instantiating that at our world position. This rotation will eventually have to be set according to another way, because we're going to want to be able to rotate place objects. But yeah. Okay, let's see. And this is going to take some debugging too, because I'm going to have to see how these offsets and how the positioning of this object actually works. But what can you do when you don't know how to do anything else? We'll do this. Not check. Set. Okay. And for instance, we're going to literally copy this. And instead, if tiles that is not obstructed, then dot is obstructed equals true. So equal to true. Cool. So that should work if I am being honest. See, what was I doing? Okay, so let's look through this for our offset. So x is equal to selected tile by x. If x is less than the selected tile, x plus the offset, which if it was 1 would be 0. So that if x is less than so basically, if this offset was 0, then this would not ever happen, so we'd skip it. But if it was 1, then we'd do it 1, 2, 2. We could have some, maybe we'll have some really big objects, but basically, it's really gonna ever not be too big and not be too memory intensive. So yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and we have this like so. Long table. I'm going to actually remove the component here, and we're gonna just make a component here, and we're gonna do placeable object, and we'll say the x size is 2, like so. This I'm also gonna move out, and we're gonna do a small table like so, and remove this object, and get a placeable object like so. 1, 1. Okay. And we're gonna move these under here. So now in placeable controller, we're going to put our long table right there. Okay. Actually, what I want to do is place this like that. No, small table like that. Like so. And let's try this bad boy out. This is the fun part about Unity, is you can see it visually debugging. Kobe. Where you going, small table? Okay. Oh, you guys are up high. Fun. So that needs to go to 0, 0, 0. This is just 1, 0, right? Yep. Table's down there. Because we never actually, of course, set that like so. Okay, cool. Save that. That would make sense why that wasn't working. Okay. B. There's that. There's that. Placing these. Okay, cool. And now, for the real test, is we're going to go in here and drag our long table in. Now, we should be able to place a long table. But if we go here, can't place them like so. We can place it over there, of course, like that. But okay, so there we shouldn't be able to place it like that. So that's actually going to be a negative X. Yeah, for instance, we can't place it like so. We can't place it on this tile because it goes positive X. So what does that mean? When I place it like here, you can see that the pivot is actually just off. We actually go in the wrong direction. So what I'm going to basically do for a fix, instead of handling this programmatically, we're going to go here. And instead of having 1, we're going to just simply -1. Like so. That should fix it. A little confusing. Doesn't make too much sense, you know. But yeah. So let's save that. Now we're gonna try pressing play. Like so. So now if we go here, go into building mode, place that like so. We got a long table. Now let's put our long table like so. We can place it like that. You should really add some debug view that allows you which grid tile you're hovering. Yeah, no, I agree. I haven't worked with the gizmos quite yet. Okay, yeah, that's definitely not right. Oh, good God. Come on now. Are you ever actually checking if instructions? Or are you actually getting set instructions? My original thought process... Okay, so here's where it doesn't work out. Why the fuck? Interesting. My original thought process was to use game objects, which would have made that part very much easy, so much easier. But, you know, that would have created some memory-intensive stuff. Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, we will, of course, have to denote what zones the player can see. The Gizmos is only editor. I know that for a fact. Basically, we probably will need to implement some way of visualizing the tiles. I don't know exactly the best way to handle that quite yet. I haven't thought that far ahead. But we'll need to denote which zones players are in while they're in building mode or moving mode or whatever you want to call it. Because some objects are not going to be able to place in every single zone. For instance, we're not going to be able... There's a goal machine right here. This waffle machine. That's not going to be able to place in the dining area. That's only going to be able to be placed in this behind the counter area. Like so, basically like the work area. Because we don't want the waffle machine being out here, and vice versa. We don't want tables being in that area either. So that is the forethought going into there. But right now, I'm just trying to figure out why this is being very annoying. Okay, so we got that like so. So maybe... One thought is... maybe what we're going to do is just for now create some game objects tied to the tiles just to show it. So if I... Let me go ahead and place a long table in here again. I have one thought. So we place a long table. What if I go down? So, yeah. No. We can't keep placing like that. We'll also need a phantom object, too, to hover when we're making tables and such, like so. So, like, we know where we're placing it. Okay, see, like, that's even weirder. Flooring it is definitely causing some weird things. Place a lot of tables. Oh, that looks so much better than cubes, I will say. That's helpful. So if we go up like so. Okay, so see that's the thing. I definitely need. Okay, we're gonna let's look in the gizmos, because we want to definitely draw these tiles. Because I ain't gonna lie, I have no idea where I'm placing these on the things. So let's look up Unity gizmos. Draw square. Hello? Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, we good. Checking 1, 2, 3, checking. Had OBS crash there on me for a second. But yeah, let's look into gizmos. Okay, sweet. Yeah, I literally had a message pop up. OBS disconnected. I'm like, oh, fun. Okay, so we got a new rect A contains... Is this any way I can visualize this? There's no easy way to visualize it, but you can certainly debug.log. Yes, you can have the editor draw gizmos or representing the rect. I have not tested in code, but it should work. Gizmos color, draw rect, your rect variable. Draw wire cube. Oh boy. Dot draw cube. Okay. So what we'll do... Yeah, it hasn't crashed for me in a while. I mean, it's probably just like some small little internet thing. So on our generate grid, we need plane bounds, and we're setting it at X and Y. And I guess what we can do is get placeable tile world position. Or whenever substructions tile size. Oh, so here's where we're selecting tile. So we're gonna draw a rectangle box at that position. Okay. Shit, how did I do this? Let's see. Draw cube, 1, 1, 1. Okay. Color equals new color. I'm going to quite literally be this. Paste the gizmos. Already working. And then we're just gonna do a so that's a transform. Check world, or what was the get placeable tile position. So how do we make that a transform? Center and size. Okay, that works. All right, so that's just basically when we're hovering over it, going to hopefully draw a cube. We'll see. And this should represent what the tile looks like. Draw function can only be used on draw gizmos or on draw gizmos selected. The fuck? Okay. How do I do? So do I call this? What do you mean on draw gizmos? Unity draw gizmos. Gizmos are used to visually debug or set up aids in scene view. All gizmo drawing on draw gizmos. Okay, so we're gonna just do a on draw gizmos like so. I don't know. Maybe for x equals to, or we'll do for each tile and tiles. Selected tile equals tile. Then do that. Very janky. Very, very janky. But hopefully this works. I do not see any fucking tiles. Alright, you know what we're gonna do next? Instead of this, I'm kinda... Gizmos, not fun. When we generate the grid, basically what I'm thinking about doing is just instantiating a object. Just there. Okay, object's not set. Okay, so that was supposed to be drawn quite before. So let's make a small little test object, 3D object cube, test. And we're gonna make the scale 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, and set this to 0, 0, 0, like so. And we're gonna also give it a materials, give it green, make it green. So set obstructions, check obstructions, generate grid, selected tile equals tiles of XY. We're going to instantiate a, okay, object is going to be test obj, comma, transform equals get tile world position. Okay, then we're gonna just do a public game object test obj, like so. Instantiate original rotation, new Quaternion, 0, 0, 0, 0, and finally, there we go. This is not optimal, and this is going to definitely be weird, but we're going to basically see what the grid looks like. This has been a long time coming. I have no idea what the freaking grid looks like. So we're gonna save. This is a prefab environmental test. Delete this. And in placeable controller. No. Placeable zones. Yeah, there we go. Test obj. Test obj. Okay. Now let's see what these damn grids look like. Ugh. Alright, here we go. Okay. So here is what the grid looks like. These are all at half. Like so. They all have colliders, of course. Let me turn that off. Remove. There's no colliders here. I wish... Is there a material? No. I wish... Damn it. No, go back. Go here. Can I... Is there like a nice test material that has a rounded edge? Probably not. For a cube. Just so I can see, like, you know, like in a grid. Yeah, whatever. It's fine. Okay. So, even though the scale is still half, you can still see, so the middle of this point is grid. So if I go to building mode and I click right here. Interesting. Interesting indeed. Go like so. See, that's... Problem is, I think I need to start rounding these. Because that obviously shouldn't be going down. If I'm like right here, then maybe. But flooring to the end might not be working too good. But eventually I will go fix that. But right now, let's focus on this. So we can place tables like so. We got a big grid. You can see the other grid. Oh, look at that. So that's weird. Very interesting. I think that might have to do with the way the plane is oriented. But let's focus on this one for now. There's a lot of debugging, as you can see, I have to do. This is a lot. But part of game dev. Long table. So if I go here, place like that. So let's see. I have an idea as well. We're gonna do var test is equal to that. Test.name is equal to test. Quaternion rotation should be normalized to avoid issues. Transient, please don't use 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay. Gotcha. So you're saying just add normalize right there? Yeah, I mean, eventually these things are not going to actually go that, but I will keep that in mind for the future. Plus X plus Y, like so. Now we'll actually be able to see the grid locations. See, this could have been avoided if I just used game objects as tiles. It would have been probably a good bit easier. But can't normalize to a 0 vector quad. Set the W value to be 1. Wouldn't you want to use the identity quaternion? Probably, yes. So how about we just do quaternion dot identity. That does make more sense, just doing 1, 1. I don't even know. I have not really messed with quaternions at all. I don't know much about them, so thank you guys for pointing that out. Yeah, so now we should be able to see the actual, how the grid's laid out, because I just want to be able to see this. All right, so 0, 0, if we go in the scene, that's the wrong grid, of course. Oh my. There we go. 0, 0. So that's it right there. And then 0, 1, it's going up Y's like so. Then, okay. Okay. So let's just check a point right there. Right there. No. We'll do that point next to us. Okay. So 33, 2. Let's go placeable controller. Set our thing to long table again. So our long table has a size of 2 and 1. Okay. 38 is right there. And we want to go to 39. So X 39. So if we go 38, 0, should be next to each other like that. So if we go back to our game and place a table right there. So right there. Okay. So now if I place that again, if I go up here, I can still place. That means, okay, actually if I go right here, I shouldn't be able to place. Hey, that's actually working. Because if I went down here, no, maybe not. I'm so confused. Oh my god. This shouldn't be able to happen at all right here. Check obstructions. So, if we go in here now, place object, X size is greater than 1 or greater than 1. Offset is minus minus, then we check the obstructions. If it's false, we shouldn't do anything. And that will return false if that is obstructed. So that should go up the X. So we start there, check that if it's obstructed at X and Y. Then we should go up. Not by... go up by 1. Maybe here, like so. Not like that, of course. That could be it. I could just be never actually checking the actual one we needed because it's super small. That could always be the case. Stop that. And we're also going to stop being idiots and do that. Okay. There we go. Building mode, place like that. So if I go up by 1, I go down, down, go down, 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 go up. up. Can't place. Shouldn't be able to 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 place. Should be able to place. Okay, so that's why. Put this guy right here. So, and we're increasing by 1. So, basically, this is obstructed now. So, if I go to the long table and try to place right here, shouldn't be able to. But if I go right here, should be able to. Okay, cool. That is actually, looks like it was working. Let's go back here and instead of having -1, 1. Because that would have made sense. That would have made sense. Okay. Cool. Cool. Let's go ahead and place some more small tables around. Like, no, we gotta go back in. Like so. Go to building mode. Make some long tables, might as well. And then long table. So, I can't be placing right here because that's obstructed. But if I go right here, like so. Okay. Cool. Let's see how this would do if I move this back by 1. Okay, so 5, 6. Okay, that looks a little bit better. So instead of doing like so by 1, we're gonna actually just 0.5, and that would look a little bit better. Okay. Holy crap. Ugh. There we go. All right, so now we have things being obstructed. You cannot place a bigger object in the direction, in the x size and y size. So forethought here is basically imagine building a system where instead of having a grid, players can place items randomly and you have to validate every object placed compared to its environment. That sounds kind of crazy, but also like a good idea. Is that what you're working on right now? Because that sounds like a whole headache and a half. But if that's what you're building, I have. My hat's off to you. Okay, so now, so that went down there. So that's where, yeah, we're gonna definitely have to start rounding this, because we also got to remember that this object, if I go down here, if I go down there, that's actually trying to find something that doesn't exist. So I have to actually go up here, or actually, if I go there. Yeah, because it has to be over the center point, basically, to be even selecting that. So we need to basically, whichever it's closer to, if it's closer to, yeah, you kind of get what I mean. Instead of, because we're flooring it right now, like so. Okay. So you hope I never have to build that. Okay, I'm doing something tangentially relevant, but not quite to that scale. Not a game though. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I think just for now, for my own sanity, I'm using a grid system, and for my own insanity, it's actually easy enough if you have the base physics system just attach areas and forbid intersections. Oh, kind of like using like a nav mesh type of system, like using their nav mesh, like kind of setting up a system like that. That could make sense. I've actually watched a few game dev stream or game dev log or devlogs. That's the word I was looking for like Vicious Legacy, where they seem to do stuff like that, including and like some other games where they have systems set up like that and kind of go into detail. but I don't remember the actual specifics. Okay, so now we have a 2-length table that takes up both. We have a 1-length table that doesn't take up both. Okay. Don't know why I'd prioritize setting that up. So next up... Okay, I can think I know why this is breaking too. If we go to placeable zones, another dining area. That's what that is, but the offsets are excruciatingly not correct. I wonder why that is. If you go to dining area, you can kind of see how this is actually working. Just really basic OBB intersection test or convex holes if you really need the correctness. Okay. It can handle interacting with other objects and adding limits. Makes sense. Yeah. Definitely does make sense. But I don't want them. I kind of do want just this basic grid building system. Because eventually, if we want to really imagine this, we'll have this cursor, and basically when you're hovering over each tile, it's just basically going to create a ghost object, probably setting that alpha or its transparency to like half. You'll be able to press the R button while in build mode, rotate it around if it's like a longer table. And just for, since we're also using nav mesh and like pathfinding and like that, and we have access to making cubes, the side that will already obstruct things by moving. We will, I think a grid system here actually probably would work better, especially with the simplicity of the game. I think for a larger scale, maybe making that type of building system would probably be better, such as like, I don't know, we can think of like, I don't know, maybe like Fortnite or something like that, their building system. Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, no. But maybe in the future, maybe 5 years, we'll have this game complete and create a crazy base building pirate game. Okay, cool. So we can have some tables set up like that. All right, so next up, obviously, we do not want... I'm going to disable that. We do not want just placing objects by clicking it like that, obviously. So... let's actually, one other thing I can think of is player controller, and let's go into this scroll hotbar. So we got an input direction, so we got going up and down. So lock scroll is true, and then once it's 0 and not as attacking, false. Okay. So this might me all put in another if block, some fun nested ifs. And if that is not building, if it is so, then we can move between objects. So let's go ahead and select that. So if not is building, is placing, I guess, because I freaking, my namesake. This is, I will say, in the future, I know a lot of these stuff. What would your strategy be to snap to grid system? Oh, okay. You seem quite knowledgeable. Yeah, Acrostel has joined the stream before and actually helped out a good bit. Definitely very knowledgeable. Shout out. But yeah, what I was saying, if you're interested in some future streams, once I got some systems in place, the plan for 1 or 2 streams in a row is to basically go back, documentation, renaming, and optimizing. That's always fun, and we'll go through every single function which I've written, explain how it works using nice little XML summaries, like so. Okay, but let's go back. So if not placing, so if we are placing, then let's go in our placeable controller. So we have select a placeable object and placeable zones. And all we're going to do is basically public list of game objects, selected placeable objects. So, and then we can make these private. Right? I'm not using that anywhere else, right? I think so. Oh yeah, no. And I recommend doing that as well. Like, of course, writing comments as you go and help yourself out. But going back and going ahead and just like doing a full-fledged comment explaining how things work and what it's used for. It's not like if you're working on a project with multiple people, obviously you need to do that because you need to explain it to the other people. But also it helps explain it to yourself because I've written a good bit of code since the start of this project and I can tell you basically how everything works, but also it reinforces that idea. So I would highly recommend going through sometimes and just trying to remember how you do shit. Okay. So there we go. We gotta have a list of selected game objects. Let me save this. So elf not is placing. Building mode. Oh, building mode, yeah. Okay, so if not building mode, not is placing. I knew I fucking named it normally. So if not is placing, which we're handling somewhere else, then basically we are going to set up this same exact type of thing right here. Scroll direction, scroll not is attacking, but we do want to make sure we're alive. Lock scroll, scroll direction, slot controller. This is where we can actually change it. So we'll have a placeable controller. We'll have a private index or IDX is equal to 0. And then a public int index. We'll do a getter and return IDX and set IDX equals value. Copy and paste is a red flag when I code. Yeah, I get it. Sometimes I will say like copy and pasting, like for instance, these check obstructions and set obstructions, like copy and pasting that, I think that's okay. But copying and pasting from the internet and especially AI, red flag. I have a love-hate relationship with ChatGPT, and whatnot. Okay. And sorry, I got a text. I have a love-hate relationship with ChatGPT. I used to use it a good bit, but then I started noticing myself stop learning, basically. So now I really try to just use documentation and even fly away from some videos sometimes, especially on stream. But it's okay. So actually, I'm gonna put this back, and we're gonna go into our. You can copy paste your own code. It violates a bunch of solid principles. Yeah, that's fair. Sometimes I'll feel like I'm going on the flow. I think copy and pasting to a certain extent. What I mean by that is if I were to copy and paste a good chunk of code, then I would find that as a red flag. But if you're copy and pasting of just a few lines because you need the exact same functionality, like for instance, like so, I think it should be okay. And I need to go through line by line. You're right. Just making sure it's gonna work correctly. But this is just for locking scroll direction and setting this index. For instance, as you can see, here we go. We have the way this works is it sets the index of the current weapon, which is enabled. to its index -1 or its count -1 if we're going down, and then 0 if we're going up, like so. So same principle. We're gonna want our placeable controller dot instance because we have access to that. Yeah, just simply like so. And this is not that. It's going to be no. What did we name that? And selected placeable objects. No, not selected placeable objects. Do placeable objects. So. Okay. So now, oh, also I didn't notice you responded. Depends on what you're working with, but the base would be normalizing your input in the grid space, and just floor times the grid size. Being a vector being a 2D vector, I use flat arrays for everything, but that's not that useful. Good recommendation, thanks. I'm trying to decide if a grid would be helpful for my system that will make a decision. Okay, awesome. Love seeing that type of stuff, guys. That makes me happy. Okay, so we don't need to have this is attacking, but okay, so. Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. That's some complex stuff, dude. I'm gonna have to, maybe we'll do a whole stream on setting stuff up like that. Getting excited for some of this stuff. Yeah, I think either, probably actually tomorrow, we'll do a little bit of game dev, but maybe we'll dive in some new technologies. I've been meaning to learn Docker and Kubernetes, if you've ever experimented with that, alongside Golang. So if you guys are interested in that, maybe tomorrow or Friday, we could do a surface level dive into that and start figuring out how everything is set up. I have my system dual booted to Linux Ubuntu 24.02. I would probably rather want to do it on a Linux kernel. So I might have to port over OBS to my Linux boot, but might set that up tonight. And if so, probably have to do game dev and then turn it off, go over to Linux and restart the stream for that portion. If that's something that interests you guys, let me know, and maybe we could explore that together. Okay, let's go back. I am selecting this. So placeable objects, and also in here, place object. Selected, and index does not equal 0, because if it's not, then we are not going to, because our index at 0 is going to select a placeable zone. Its index equal to its protection level. Where, and cursor? Oh, yeah. Knew that was going to be the case. Actually, I'm just going to bullshit that for now. We'll just make that public for now. And that's where I was talking about that documentation live stream. We'll go and fix permissions and such like that. Make everything look a little bit more pretty in the code. Okay. So now what we're going to do is in our placeable controller, we have a list of placeable zones. Basically do that. So, placeable objects. At 0, we want none. And at 1 and 2, we're going to want long table or small table and long table, right? Yep. So now, if I hit play, let's see how this works. So we got these, attacking, go into building mode, placing, nothing's happening, scroll once. Oh, there we go. Oh, you know why that's not working? Because selected placeable object is nothing. So on update for now, we'll do selected placeable object is equal to placeable objects at IDX. Writing docs afterwards is awkward. Who am I to remember what my code does? Yeah, I agree. I can definitely see how that could be the case. That is why I'm writing docs afterwards, though. Because if I don't remember what that code does, it allows me to keep going in and reread it. And as a junior developer, after some time, maybe I've improved in my skills and I can see a better way to handle this. And then maybe I can write down that for an optimization stream or optimization like stage, and then optimize after that. Because right now I'm writing everything down, just getting things to work. And then after that documentation stage, I'm going to want to go optimize things, and rereading everything by documenting it is going to allow me to kind of just rethink some things if they need to be. For instance, these offsets, I'm having to like dynamically subtract right here. This is probably or not dynamically, statically subtract. Write specifications before implementation person. Oh, no, yeah, I agree. In fact, I think I'm going to do both. I like to write this type of stuff down right before. Write everything you can think at a high level down, and then start implementing, and then go back and add some more things after the basic systems are there, and just keep like a whole little jumble, basically like paragraph, could even turn into an essay, who knows. And then writing above some function sometimes. I'm kind of a really go as you flow type of guy in general. And same thing with my programming. But that's where my the documentation, going back and redocumenting everything I think is going to help out a good bit. But let's go back here and see if this is okay. All right. So go to B, place nothing, scroll once, select the game objects long table, scroll twice. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah, there we go. Of course, we have no indication of that right now, but it's okay. So that's none. That's one. Okay, and of course that's weird. That's weird, using the scroll wheel not having any indication. And then of course we'll eventually tie this to pressing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And such, like on our keyboard. But we also need to think about controller support as well, and just basics. So yeah, can make a little maze. But yeah. It's looking pretty good, pretty snazzy. Liking that. Okay. Got some good tables here. So, now we're placing. Next up, I think what I might want to do is we're going to need a currency system. Because to place an object out of a buy menu, you're going to want to... Okay, so here's where we can move on to do different things. I know the player is going to start with some base objects in their scene. So if a tile is obstructed in building mode, if you click that obstructed tile, I want to basically remove that game object and refund the person for basically, like, you're picking it up and you're moving it around. Like, we want to be able to actually move these objects. Like, in my mind, I haven't really thought about how that would look. Really, I guess just having a building mode probably is going to be the simplest, and maybe having a range in which you're allowed to build in, just for gameplay's sake. But for now, going down the rabbit hole too much, I do believe that we can either go down the picking up objects and moving them, or the currency system where we're buying objects based on currency got, and that currency could be rewarded by the end of the waves. That should be pretty easy to do, or by slaying zombies, or during the daytime from this machine. Kind of see where I'm heading with that. But so that's where, oops, sorry about that. That's where, that's a good question. What do we want to do? Maybe working on a currency system. Okay. That might work the best. So, let's think this out. Go back to our design doc. Grid with sections. Needs certain objects replaceable in certain sections. So we're gonna delete this for my own sanity. So, basics. Zone. Grid in zone. Objects can take more than one space. Okay. Got a zone. Grid in zone. Objects take one more space. Just for the little bit of dopamine hit. So next up we need only able to place when currency is met. When we place, subtract currency. So what we're gonna need is, in our placeable object, is we're gonna need a let's go ahead and do a serialize field. Private int, we're gonna do a cost, and we'll just say 100 for now. And then public int cost get return cost. And I don't know if we're gonna have to use a setter for this. Like so. Okay. So now we have a cost on each of our placeable objects. So basically what we're gonna want is when we click on an object, it's going to add the currency to it like a placed object, add our currency to our player, basically refund it, and then allow us to place that. So if we go here, how do you want to handle this? So I do have a cursor object right here. We could tag these movable obstructions, tag, let's do table, movable obstructions, yes, change to children, 4 sanity. Okay, now let's think here. Currency. So, currency, we could maybe keep it in the player controller, or do we want to keep it in a separate script? I think we might want to keep it in the player controller because it's going to be tied per player. Interesting. Okay. Let's go in here. Player controller. And we are going to start messing around with this. Serialized field. Private. Private. We're going to keep this in integer. Integer currency. And we'll start out with 100. And we will also create a nice little public int currency with getters and setters. Get turn currency. You'd really think that this Intello whatever Visual Studio would just do that. Very interesting. Okay. So now we have currency tied to our player. So on building mode, enter. On scroll wheel, on attack. So this is if in building mode. If not is placing, it's placing equals true. We'll do if placeable controller dot instance dot selected, not placeable zone. Do you want access to this? Probably want, yeah. I'm gonna go ahead and getter and setter these. So we only need to actually ever get this right here. Get turn selected placeable zone and public game object selected placeable object get turn select placeable object like so. Okay. Okay, and here instance dot selected placeable object dot cost. Oh, that's the game object. Dot get component placeable object. Not if that doesn't equal null. Dot cost is less than or equal to currency. Then we can place like so. And we'll do currency minus equals this exact same thing. So. So now our currency is right, because I don't actually set that up there, do I? Yeah, I do, so I can keep that capital. Answer minus equals instance selected placeable object, put up the object to cost. And then there we go, place object. So well, we also need to make sure if that's not equal to null, because none is null. Go to player. Not is placing. Null. Okay. Cool. Right. And yeah, in cursor, we need to go there. And like so, we need to make sure that we can actually set this. That's player controller, not placeable controller. We also need to be able to set this as well. And there we go. So now I should be able to look at the player, see a currency is equal to 100. Like so. Okay. Now enter building mode. Click anything, no currency goes down, scroll once, got that, currency equals 0, now we can't place anymore. Okay, cool. So we have a basic, very basic currency system. Ooh, getting some lag. Interesting. Oh, no, actually that just might be my computer lagging because the Unity editor is also lagging. So next up, we want to grab our cursor object, fix update, raycast hit, layer mask, and movable ground, navigational ground, and that'll do that. If physics raycast ray, out hit, layer mask. Okay, transport system equals hit point. Also, we're gonna do a if. Okay. So next up, we basically want to be able to select a object for movement. Pretty simple. Simply, so we're gonna also want a object cost. Okay. So for instance, what we're going to do is we got X size, Y size, and maybe we should also give it a location. So when we instantiate it, like so, selected placeable zone, set obstructions. Okay, so let's start actually flushing this out. And that is in placeable zone. I'm gonna move. Oh, you fun. So if we go to sit, we can equal the true. We're gonna actually just do a Boolean val. And we'll set that equal to val. Like so. Now it's gonna cause an error, right? Here. True. So. So place object, if check obstructions, instantiate, we'll do a var obj is equal to instantiate, then let's see, obj we'll have a X size, Y size, and we're also going to have a private X, Y, well, no, private int x equals 0, private int y equals 0, and there we go. Actually, I'm just gonna set these public because I do not care too much right now. Obj.x is equal to selected tile. Is that right? Oh, select placement zone, selected tile. X. Oh, yes. Also, let me do a Eternian identity here. Fix that as well. Thanks for the point out. OBJ instantiate that. We'll get a var placeable placeable obj equals obj dot get component dot placeable object. So, and then placeable obj dot x is equal to all this fun stuff right here. Dot x placeable obj dot y dot y. Okay. Float to int. Okay. I'm just gonna static cast that then. Okay. So there we go. Got x and y now tied to when we place those objects. So then, what we're gonna do from there is, let's think. So when we click the placeable object, probably using our cursor, which is going to be our raycast, which is a screen point array. Let's see, so we'll do an if physics.raycast ray out hit just like so, math f dot infinity, and then we want a layer mask, not placeable zones. We want we want a placeable objects equals layer mask dot get mask, and we're going to we're going to set this to movable objects because that's the layer. So placeable objects, and then let's just do a private layer mask. So, and then we're going to do a placeable objects. So, on the update, we're not going to transform our hit. We're going to basically then we're going to set our player controller as this. So, okay, so we'll do a up here. Good way to do this. We'll do a private placeable object, and we'll call this hovered object placeable obj. And that's going to be equal to null right away. Okay. And then a public placeable obj. It's hovered placeable object, obj, and we're gonna do a get return hovered. Turn that, and then we're gonna set that. Okay, there we go. Like so. Now we have access to that. We're going to want a serialize field. Private player controller, and then we're gonna set player controller dot hovered placeable OGGs equals hit dot game object. Wait a second. It's a collider on trigger enter. Let's see. Unity using a raycast to get access to a game object. Can you name that from raycast hit? Raycast hit dot. So let's try hit dot transform dot game object, baby. Dot get component, and we're gonna say placeable object, like so. Okay. And it's not equal null. Then else equals null. Like so. Okay. Now we go into the player controller and go back to our on attack, which should just be on click. If building mode, implement functionality. And not, and hovered is not equal null, or equals null. Else, if, or else if hovered does not equal null. Okay, then we are going to have a onDestroy function in here. So we'll do a public remove obj public void remove obj. So and whichever player controller what we'll do is have a not serialized field. I'm going to actually have a private player controller equals null. Actually, we don't even have to set that, because what we're going to do is a public player controller PC. We're going to basically just have, this is just ever going to be set player controller equals value. Like so. Okay. Then we'll do a hovered object.pc is equal to this. Okay. Then we'll do a hovered object dot remove obj. And now if we go back to placeable obj, remove obj. Let's see. We want to increase the value, so player controller dot currency plus equals cost, like so. And then we are going to destroy this dot game object. We also want to set our the actual x and y coordinates of this thing. So we're actually even going to have a public placeable zone, current zone tied to this, which is going to get set whenever something's placed, right? Place object, placeable obj dot zone, current zone equals selected placeable zone. And then we're going to go placeable object, and we're going to also do current zone dot tiles. We need access to that. Because that's a private, isn't that? Yeah. Public. Actually, no, we're just gonna make this public. It's very safe. Very safe. Current zone dot tiles at x comma y dot is obstructed equals to false because we're removing the obj. Okay. Now let's see how this works. That was a lot. That was a lot right there. That was a good bit. But we are good. Let's see how this is working. Okay, so we have these. I'm going to go ahead and set x and y 0, 0, 0, 0 cost. Okay. Current zone. We're going to set you in the dining area. For now. Because I want to be able to walk up and see my currency increase. Okay, so we got our grid. Not set to reference. Oh, of course. So that was 38. That was this. Player controller. Oh, because player controller is actually never fucking set, of course. So let's get out of here. Cursor. We need, of course, give that access to the player. Like so. Okay. Okay. Cursor's working. So now if we click that guy, or gotta be in building mode, click that guy, nope. Nothing. Let's see on our player. Player controller variable, cursor object. Let's try scrolling, building that. Okay. Okay. So, let's see. So he's table and movable obstructions. Of course. It's not movable obstacles. Movable objects, movable obstructions. I gotta work on my naming, dude. This is rough. This is where that optimization / documentation live stream is going to definitely be a headache, but a much needed thing. So when is that gonna happen? If you are interested in seeing how everything works, it's going to probably happen halfway through this. So target is May, so today is February. We might probably do it in March, or depending on how far we get. Okay, so enter building mode, place that, click it, come on, click, and transform placeable objects. It's not equal null. Maybe that's not gonna work. And we got make sure that's named right. Movable obstruct. Oh, of course. Of course. It was not spelt right. Sorry, I had to step away for a minute. What are you stuck on? Right now, I am kind of implementing a very basic currency / building system. Right now, I'm just being an idiot and forgetting when I name things and also misspelling things. Yeah. So basically, we're just using our cursor object and array cast in our cursor object to see bad naming. Using int p for normal clipping, polygon area, and depth in the same block. Oh my god. That actually just might have gave me a heart attack. Alright, building mode. Nothing still. Place that. You. Click. Come on. Way! Okay. Let's do a else. Yeah, my naming has not been too great. I don't even know. See, that's the thing. Like, half of me wants to say I probably misspelt it again, and I should just go in here, add layer. If this changes, I'm going to be a little angry. Not actually, but okay. No, that didn't change, I think. So that means that this is not working. Hit.transform game object does not equal null. Then we have access to the player controller because we dragged that in there, right? Yep. So if we go back to our player controller, then we're going to go here, like so, and debug dot log hovered placeable object. So when I set, then we'll get the name of the object. Wait a second. Of course, that needs to go afterwards. Okay, like so. Press play. Cross our fingers that this works. Okay, yep, no, of course, not setting. So this is not working. So go back to cursor. Raycast hit. We got placeable objects from the layer mask. Of course, the actual collider is right here, but no, collider's still there. Collider should be colliding. Also, we don't want to constantly be saying this as if. Does not equal null. Then we set it null. So let's try this. See if it even gets an object from movable obstructions. Because if not, then I could always add it to our cursor, like, collision layer mask to where it's, like, actually putting it. Object not set to an instance of an object. Okay. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. That's it. That's it. Because it's colliding with the actual box collider tied to the table mesh itself and not the actual placeable object, which is in the parent object. Okay. Okay. So now, if I enter building mode, scroll, there, hovering, bam. So clear it, but of course. Huh, interesting. So, we'll need a delay. Else, if not is placing, no, here, on attack. If in building mode, implement placing functionality. If not placing, place controller does not equal null. And hovered placeable object equals null. Then we also need to set is placing equal true here. Oh, what did I do? What did I do? Okay, that's okay with me. Go save that. All right, building mode. Long table. So I had 300 there. So player, got currency, delete, 200, 400, 600. Okay. So that means that it was getting called twice? The remove object was getting called twice, and that's kind of crazy. How quickly that was going. Before it could even add the currency, it had to call it twice. Right, player, currency, 100. Shouldn't be able to place anything. Move that. Can I go down here? Delete that, delete that. So now I got 300. So why can't I build? PC equals this, remove the object. Then we'll do a hovered placeable object equals null, I guess. Like so. That should already be taken care of though, and the cursor fixed update. What just basically happened is those objects right there, made it so I couldn't place anymore. We had enough currency though. Building mode. Table. Down. It's okay, I don't need to delete that. Third. Oh. That's fun. Currency is 100. Okay. Delete that. So then I can delete that. Delete that. Yeah, after I delete those things, those are not allowing me to place anymore. That was because of this problem. Currency tiles as instructed and destroy this .game object. Placeful zone. Test OBJ. Size of tile. It's a controller. You know what it might be? You know what it might be? I know exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is, guys. It's exactly what it is. Right there. They were not actual objects. They were objects in the scene, so when I removed them from the scene, they were not able to be placed. So, we needed to be in prefabs. So now, I should be able to play at max 3 objects, like so. And if I go ahead and remove building mode, remove them, remove him. Ooh, see, they're missing. See, there we go. Caught it. But now, we can do that. And now, that should not be a problem, hopefully. Okay, so nothing. Building mode, nothing. Let's go over here. Click that. Got nothing. Got nothing. Now let's select table, table, table. Got 3 tables. Shouldn't be able to place any more because we're out of currency. Let's go! Nice! Alright, and it's 2:23, getting close to the wrap-up time. Let's see. What did we do today? So we kind of started figuring out exactly how the grid that I've been making for the past 2 days has been working. Can finally draw that. We do have a problem with another dining area over there. I think I kind of know what the problem is, just based on its rotation and fixing those offsets, making everything work. But yeah, we're getting placeable objects. We have, we can remove objects. We can place objects that we want. Yeah. Ooh. Hello. Oh, you know why? Placeable object cost. Wait a second. Why did that happen? More bugs. More bugs. Wonder why that happened. B. Object. Reference not. These are not costing anything. What is going on? Why are they not getting destroyed? But why is the other one getting destroyed? Free tables everywhere. Why? What is going on here? Are these not just identical? By the way. The only thing changing is the X size. The perfect and yes. Yes, we found our first exploit, guys. We found our first exploit. Okay. So we're down to 0. We can't place any more. When I click this, I get the money, but I don't get... You know... True. I didn't think about it like that. But this type of exploitation should not be working. I just really want to know why this guy works. But not these guys. Actually, I have an idea. Give us some extra money. Alright, we got a table side by sides. We got small table and long table in the log. Okay. Now let's look down here. Current zone, placeable zone equals none. Dining area. Excuse me. Excuse me, sir. Why are we not placing the object correctly? Uh-huh. That will do it. Because what happens is in here, we have to get our current zones dot tiles as obstructed equals false, and then that will destroy it. But if there's no current zone dot tiles, then we can't ever get to destroying the game object. Okay, so there's our bug. Now that we know the bug, we find out why this zone's never being set. Let's see, none, none. So let's go in here. Get component, placeable object. Wait a bloody second. What is different here? Nothing is different here. Okay, first of all, I also want to get rid of these debugs. Where is it? We're gonna get rid of this. I don't need that debug anymore. Placeable controller. Okay. Get placeable tile world position. It's instantiating. So it does instantiate. OBJ is equal to that. So we get component placeable object. Okay. Debug dot log placeable OBJ. Dot name. Okay. Compiling scripts, yada yada yada. Okay, restart this because that's going to break everything. Okay. So B, place, there. That should be long table. Yep. Long table clone. Yep. B. Oh. Long table clone. Yep. Table. Haha! Haha! You can't tell, but I'm pointing at the screen now. Here we see long table. But once we remove the long table, we don't see small table. Oh. So why the hell is that? Okay. That means that OBJ does not have a placeable object. But it does! It's right there! It is right there! Does it have to do... Okay, we're gonna try switching these around. Okay. Yep. Switching these around. Beep, bum, boop, boop. Okay. Yeah, no shit, it's not set to anything. What about over here? What about you? What about you? You work. Why do you work? Why are you running? Why do you not work? Why do I have infinite money? I am out of money. It is the chosen one. Okay. One idea I have is to simply do that. And now okay. You want to work now, buddy? If this works, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know. I don't know. Unity, please answer me. What is wrong with you? Okay. Long table. You work. No, it still's not working. So, let's see what the difference is between these two. Alright, if someone would like to tell me what the fuck is the difference between these two things, I would like to know. Movable obstructions, table, long table, short table. Oh. Dude. What the hell? Why isn't it current? Why is none of this getting set when it's that object? OBJ, instantiating selected placeable object. So selected placeable object equals null. And that's getting set in player controller. Right here. Player controller. Index. Placeable controller. Index. This is getting updated right here, then and there. Like to know why this isn't working before we check off the lab portion of the stream for today, but that might not end up happening. For all I know. Because I'm gonna give it till 2:45. I have not eaten anything today, so I'm also starving right now. But yeah, okay, here we go. Bam, bam. Bam. Come on. Select something. What did I do? To break this? Edit a debug? Because now it's literally not. Selecting a... So the lounge streams, they're variably. I usually do them every day. What I will say about them, what I'll say about the lounge streams is that they can get a little out of hand. My buddies have no filter, so if that's something that's you're not gonna like, then I'm just forewarning. But yeah, and I do need to eat for the gains. You were very right, Mr. Juvenile Nation. Okay. Yeah, I try to get that disclaimer out during the lab streams because during the lab it's me and I'm not unhinged, but my friends can be unhinged, and I've known them I know them IRL as well and all that, so they're great individuals, but they can say some things that will not come across as the best. But that's just the disclaimer for that. Yeah. Oh my. So now the building's not working. Why? Why does this just stop working out of nowhere? That debug, that's all I did, I thought. All I thought I did was debug.log that. And that shouldn't even... Placeable controller. Placeable zones. Placeable zone. Test OBJ. Test. I'm going to serialize field that. Okay, loading up here. But yeah, that exact reason too, what I was talking about earlier, is the reason why I have separations between the lab and lounge that you can do. Do you know the structure for unit testing in Unity? I do not know the structure for unit testing in Unity. I'm pretty sure Unity has a bunch of good testing built in. Okay, so building mode. That should be, okay. Dining area. You didn't serialize your field. Why don't you serialize your field? Oh, because it's in the controller. Long table. Okay, there we go. Now you can kind of see that. Small table. Okay. Small table. Let's go in here. Has this placeable object script? Current zone equals none. Okay, the next idea is to remove this component and make it another placeable object. And you know what? We're gonna make it cost 50. We're gonna change it. Just like that. Just so it knows it has it. Knows it has it. Okay. Right, building mode. Go hover over placeable controller. We want not long table, we want small table. Dude, come on. Why? So what happens if I diner, not that, prefabs. We're going going to drag our circular table in here. I'm going to make a table. See if this has the same freaking problem. Okay, there's that. Okay. Building mode. Small table. Get some more money. Long table. Works. Circular table. So circular table's not instantiating at all. I wonder why. Movable obstructions. Movable obstructions table. I don't know. I can only work so much on this before I need to just take a step back. And when bugs like this, remember when you're coding, it's always a good idea to just take a step back, take a breather, try to get your mind off of it for a few minutes, and then eventually something might come back and you'll recognize the error or you have another idea. But I think that is going to do it for me today. Thank you guys for hanging out in the lab with me. I hope you guys are enjoying the project, learned something, or just enjoyed it at all. I like to end the lab streams with a little words. I just guys want you to remember the good is out there. It's just one step away. You'll have a good one.